Good evening, all of you. In this video class, I'm going to tell you about this partnership dissolution and insolvency of partner. When you go for partnership dissolution, there is a lot of difference between partnership business, dissolution of partnership business, and dissolution of partnership firm. When a partnership business, when it is getting continuously losses, it has to be closed. That is dissolution of partnership business. Now, coming to partnership, dissolution of partnership firm. There is a lot of difference between dissolution of partnership business and partnership firm. When the partners of a business, when they come to a conclusion and when they decide that we have to close our business, then the business, then the firm, even though it is getting profits, it should be closed. So there is a lot of difference between partner and dissolution of partnership business and partnership firm. People, they have to understand this. And there is a lot of difference between partnership business and partnership firm. So what is this? Partnership business is the business that it was carried by all the people, all the partners. And in this partnership business, when we go for one person, we'll call him as partner. And when you want to call all the partners collectively, we have to call that thing as partnership firm. That is the difference that we will come across between partnership business and partnership firm. Okay, now dissolution of partnership does not necessarily mean dissolution of firm. Okay, but the dissolution of firm necessarily means the dissolution of partnership business. That is the main thing that people, they have to understand and they have to keep that in their mind. Dissolution of partnership, okay, partnership, that is partnership business, does not necessarily mean dissolution of firm. Okay, don't be of that opinion that the firm is dissolved. The firm is there, the firm will be vacant. Okay, the firm will wait because the business, it is getting losses continuously. When it is getting continuously losses, automatically it should be closed. Okay, but dissolution of firm necessarily means the dissolution of partnership business. That is the thing that you have to take into account. A partnership firm will be dissolved in the following cases. Okay, see, when this partnership firm is dissolved, when the partners agreed that the firm should be dissolved, okay, when the partners, okay, agreed that the firm should be dissolved, when they come to a conclusion, when they come to a decision, when all partners except one becomes insolvent. In a partnership business, I told you that there will be minimum 2 persons and maximum in banking businesses and 20 in other trading businesses. Except one partner, when all the partners, when they became insolvent, then you'll come across dissolution of partnership firm. Now, when the business becomes illegal, not a legal one. Next, in case of partnership at will, a partner gives notice of his intention to dissolve the firm. I told you that there will be limited partnership and unlimited partnership. In unlimited partnership, again, we'll come across some branches. And one of the branches, partnership at will. Partnership at will. So like this, in this partnership at will, when any partner, when he gives a notice for dissolution of the firm, then immediately You'll come across partnership firm dissolution. When the court orders dissolution, okay, whatever it may be, the court of law, when it orders to that a partnership business must be dissolved, then only you'll come across dissolution of a firm, partnership firm. Okay, now in this partnership and dissolution of partnership firm, we will come across an accounting treatment, and that accounting treatment, it is very confusing, and moreover, we have to think about that in a detailed manner, and you must be very thorough with that, because some people they can remember this and some people they cannot remember this, because the accounting treatment is, you will be in such a way that you'll come across so many entries that you come across, and you will come across so many ledger accounts, and okay, then only we can say in dissolution of partnership firm, okay, all the partners they must take back their amounts at last, and whenever the bank, okay, whenever the bank balance, when it is tallied, then we can say the dissolution of partnership firm will come to an end. Whenever a firm, okay, completely dissolves, okay, completely dissolves, the mere existence of partnership will, business will come to an end. People, they have to note down this. Okay. Now, what is the accounting treatment that will come across? When a firm is dissolved, a special account called realization account is to be opened, and all the assets and liabilities and all the settlements of liabilities must be done through this realization account. And whatever it may be, the gain or loss on realization of this assets and settlement of the liabilities, they must be transferred to the existing partners in their profit sharing ratio. You won't come across any sacrificing ratio or gaining ratio in this, because the firm is going to be closed. This is about dissolution of partnership firm. Now, what are the entries that we come across? Here you'll have to take into account the entries. They are very, very important. And you'll come across some important notes also in this. First of all, we have to transfer all the assets to the realization account at their book values. So the entry is realization account at to various assets account. In this, we have to note down some points, and these points, people, they must, okay, follow. Each account should be created individually. First point, cash and bank balances are not transferred to realization account unless they are taken over by a partner. Assets should be transferred at book values. Okay. Unrecorded assets, if any, is not transferred to realization account. The assets against which provisions such as bad and doubtful debts, okay, all the things should exist, should be transferred at gross figures. That is, the provisions, they must be shown separately, and the gross value of the assets must be shown separately. They should not be clubbed. Accumulated losses as profit and loss account, okay, debit balance should not be transferred to realization account. Next, second entry is for transfer of liabilities, okay, to third parties and provisions and reserves against assets. All these things you have to transfer. Liability account data, provisions account data to realization account. Here also you'll come across important notes. Liabilities and provisions should be transferred at book values. Each liability and provision is transferred individually. Accumulated profits, reserve for general reserve, profit and loss account, credit balance should not be transferred to realization account. Loan accounts, capital accounts, and current accounts of partners should not be transferred to realization account. These are the various points that we have to note down. Next, second one, for realizing the assets, bank account data to various assets account. Bank account data to realization account, not various assets, bank account data to realization account. For assets taken over by a partner, partner's capital account data to realization account. For the payment or discharge of liabilities, realization account data to bank account. For the liabilities agreed to be discharged by a partner, realization account debtor to partner's capital account. For expenses of on realization, okay, realization account debtor to bank account. If a partner agrees to bear realization expenses in consideration of an agreed amount to be paid to him, realization account debtor to partner's capital account. Okay, for transfer of profit on realization, realization account debtor to partner's capital account. For loss, the entry will be reversed. That is partner's capital account debtor to realization account. For payment of partner's loan account debtor to bank account. For transferring accumulated profits to partner's capital account. The reserve fund account debtor, profit and loss account debtor to partner's capital accounts. If there is any debit balance of profit and loss account, that is debit balance. Okay, the entry will be the same. The entry will be reverse. That is partner's capital account debtor to profit and loss account. Now, for closing capital accounts, partner's capital account debtor to bank account. These are the various things that we come across when we go for dissolution of a firm. And so many people, they are of the opinion that, array, we can do this dissolution of partnership firm very easily. But I'm telling you that you must be very thorough with the entries. Whenever you are very thorough with these entries, then only you can go for dissolution of partnership firm. Don't be of that opinion that you can do this. Okay? Because so many things will come into picture. For example, if you take into account a partner and the Mrs. loan account, then what you have to do? You have to transfer the Mrs. loan account of a partner to the partner's capital account. You'll come across some differences in this. Okay, dissolution of partnership firm. This is about the thing that I want to tell you regarding this dissolution of partnership firm. Now, coming to the next one, insolvency of a partner. Now, before going to insolvency of a partner, we must know what is solvent and we must know what is insolvent. In this context, I'm going to give you one beautiful example. That is, if you take a glass of water and if you keep some sugar and if you just tilt it, that is, rotate it with a spoon, okay, after some time, the sugar will dissolve in the water. You won't come across any residue. So we can say that it is solvent. And suppose if you take a glass of water and in that glass of water, if you take some sand and if you tilt that, if you rotate with a spoon, you'll come across a residue because the sand will not dissolve in the water. And we can say that it is nothing but insolvent. And insolvency of partnership business is very, very important, and people, they must be very thorough with this. Because here in insolvency of a partner, okay, so many people, they used to follow so many methods. But okay, there is one English case by name Garner versus Murray. In that Garner versus Murray, a clash occurred between two people. That is, some people, they say that the deficiency of the deficiency of an insolvent partner, or the amount that is okay due of an insolvent partner, it should be shared in the profit sharing ratio. Some people, they argued that. And some people, in contrast to that, they say that it is nothing but a capital loss. It is nothing but a capital loss. As his capital is not sufficient to meet the debts, automatically you will come across some deficiency. And that deficiency is nothing but a capital loss, and it should be distributed in the capital ratios of the solvent partners. So, like this, two controversies they came, and that two controversies, okay, they appeared in this Garner versus Murray case. And the court of law, at last, had given a decision that whatever it may be the deficiency of an insolvent partner, it should be shared. It is a capital loss, and it should be shared by the solvent partners in their capital ratios, And moreover, whatever it may be the loss suffered by the solvent partners, they must bring some equivalent cash in the business. And after that, they have to take into account the capital ratios of the solvent partners, and that ratio we have to use to share the deficiency of the partner. Okay, this is how you'll come across insolvency of a partner. And this insolvency, completely, it is nothing but an English word. And in India, or the Indian word is bankruptcy. But thing is, this bankruptcy and insolvency people, they used to use that synonymously. Synonymously, they used to use this. But actual meaning of this thing is bankruptcy. But so many people, what they're doing is they are not using this bankruptcy word, and instead of bankruptcy word, they're using insolvency of a word. Now, when you will come across this insolvency, when a partner, when he cannot be in a position to clear his debts, his share of debts, then only you will come across insolvency of a partner. And when this insolvency occurs, okay, according to Indian Partnership Act of 1932, the firm should be closed. The firm should be closed, because if it is one partner or more than one partner, okay, then dissolution or closing of the business, it is compulsory. Okay, and whatever it may be, the share of deficiency, the solvent partners, they will share that, and the solvent partners, whatever it may be, the amount that they used to, that they or due, they used to get that, and they used to go away. So thereby the existence of the partnership business will come to an end. And this insolvency of a partner, it depends mainly upon the case, that is Garner versus Murray case. If a partner is unable to pay his debts due to the firm, he is said to be insolvent. According to the decision in the English case of Garner versus Murray, solvent partners have to bear the loss due to insolvency in proportionate to their capital just before dissolution. This decision makes a distinction between an ordinary loss, okay, due to trading or realization of assets, and a loss on account of insolvency of a partner. The loss on account of insolvency of a partner is a capital loss, is a capital loss, and such be borne by the other solvent partners in proportion to their capitals. If an insolvent partner if insolvent partner's capital shows a debit balance, then he is not responsible for the loss due to insolvency of a partner. According to the decision, the solvent partner should bring in cash equal to their share of loss on realization. In actual practice, partners do not bring any cash for their share of loss on realization, only notional entries are made. This is how we are coming across in practical life, as well as according to the decision taken by Garner versus Murray. Now, in fixed and fluctuating capital methods, when partners, when they are following this fixed and fluctuating capital methods, how this, okay, insolvency of a partner you will come across. When you go for fixed capital accounts, okay, when you go for fixed capital accounts, I told you already that fixed capitals are fixed, okay, at the beginning of the beginning as well as at the end. And whatever it may be, the adjustment that we come across, we have to transfer to a separate account known as current accounts. So here also, what we have to do is we have to keep the capital accounts as it is, and whatever it may be, the other adjustments that we come across, we have to transfer to current accounts. And first of all, we have to balance the current accounts. And whatever it may be, the balance, whether it may be a debit balance or credit balance, we have to transfer that debit balance or credit balance to the individual partners' capital accounts. So thereby, what is happening is we are closing the current accounts and we are continuing the capital accounts. And while preparing in practical life, in practice, while you are preparing, okay, doing the problems, first of all, one thing you have to keep in mind, whether we are going for fixed capital account or fluctuating capital account, first of all, you have to decide. Then after that, we have to take into account the insolvent partners capital account as well as current account. Then you have to go for the preparation of solvent partners capital account and current accounts. And whatever it may be, the adjustments that we come across, we have to transfer to current accounts. Okay. Then whatever it may be, the balance that we come across, we have to transfer to the capital account. Thereby, the capital accounts will come to a closure, and we'll come to know what is the ultimate balance due to the individual partner. In the same manner, you have to do all the things. Suppose if you are following these fluctuating capitals, okay, you have to transfer all the adjustments to the capital accounts, and whatever it may be, the capital balance we have to take into account, and we have to take the ratio, and in that ratio we have to, I mean, distribute the deficiency of the insolvent partner. Then automatically the insolvent partner's capital account will be closed, and only the balance of solvent partners we will come across, and we have to clear through bank. Okay, so this is how you will come across. Okay. Okay. Fixed and fluctuating capitals. If the capital accounts of partners are fixed, then no adjustment is required for accumulated profits, losses, drawings, etc. And the deficiency of the insolvent partner is borne by the solvent partners in proportion to their fixed capitals. All adjustments regarding accumulated profits or losses, reserves, etc., will be made in the current accounts of the partners. The deficiency in the capital account of the insolvent partner will be borne by the solvent partners in proportion to their capital as on the date of dissolution. If the capitals are fluctuating, the capital account should be adjusted by transferring reserves, profits, and losses to their respective capital accounts. The capital so arrived should be the basis for sharing the loss arising due to insolvency of a partner. Loss or profit on realization should not be considered while ascertaining the capital ratio of the solvent partners. Okay, this is the way that we will come across when we go for this, and we will come across some entries. All journal entries up to the settlement of profit or loss on realization will be the same as discussed above, and the further entries are undistributed profits reserves should be transferred to current accounts of the partners. The entry is general reserve account data, profit and loss account data to partners' capital accounts. However, if there is any profit or loss debit balance, then you have to go for a reverse entry, that is partners' current account data to general reserve, profit and loss account. Loss on realization should be transferred to current accounts of the partners. Okay, partners' current account data to realization account. Each solvent partner is required to bring, in this respect, share of loss on resolution, bank account data to solvent partners capital account. Okay, the solvent partners current account. The solvent partner's current account should be transferred to his capital account. If the current account shows debit balance, the entry for transfer is insolvent partner's capital account data to insolvent partner's current account. If any amount is realized from the estate of insolvent partner, then the then it should be created to his capital account. The entry is bank account data to insolvent partner's capital account. The capital deficiency, that is the net debit balance of the insolvent partner, should be transferred to the current accounts of the solvent partners in proportion to their capitals as on the date of balance sheet. The entry is solvent partners current account data to insolvent partners current account, okay, the capital account. The solvent partner's current account should now be closed by transferring to the respective capital accounts. The entry for the transfer of credit balance in current account is solvent partner's current account data to solvent partner's capital account. If any solvent partner the capital account shows debit balance, then he is required to bring the amount due from him before making payment. Okay, okay, just 1 second. Okay, with this I'm stopping, and tomorrow I'm going to continue this.